Hello, I'm Michael Baker. I own a small shop called Michael Baker Digital. I've been in business for 25 years. I'm the builder, so I've been building websites since basically building websites was a thing. I started using WordPress when it was invented and built for 15 or 16 years with WordPress. And as of recently, new software has come out with AI. I'd say in the last like 6 to 9 months, I'm using AI to completely replace WordPress, to replace Wix, to replace Squarespace. Shopify still has a lock on e-commerce, but Shopify is smart in that they're integrating sales directly with AI. So that's a really powerful and bold move, keeping them in the game longer. But recently, I just launched a local company, and I'm doing a more of a demonstration. You can feel free to ask any questions along the way. And to his point too about the H1s and the H2s and all that stuff, when I have AI build sites for me now, I don't have to go in anymore and program all this stuff. So I used to have to go in manually and touch every little piece, every image, every heading, all that stuff. I'm simply having a conversation and telling software to build this for me and build it into this website. So that has changed a lot. And so to his point too about the H1 and explaining what you are right out of the gate, this is a brand new site that I just put up for a local business that I'm sure a lot of you know. It's Metro Star Apartments, Metro Star Properties in Milford, New Haven, and Brantford. So clearly right out of the gate, it's explaining what it is. And as you scroll down to see the authenticity, him talking about blogging, H2 tags further reiterating, what this is doing. But none of this was built by hand, and anything that I want to have changed or modified on this website going forth is all going to be a conversation that I'm going to have. No longer do I have to program it. It still does require technical know-how to a certain degree, but I want to point out something like this, which is a law firm that I'm working on right now. A fella, Alan Barry, who I've been working with for like 13 years.
Michael, I've got a question for you.
Sure.
When you say have a conversation, you're typing it in? Or
Yes.
you're okay.
I'm going to show that right now.
That's all.
So
Yeah.
what I wanted to have happen here was I wanted this website to have, in mobile, I wanted it to show me, I wanted it to have a constant and persistent click to call button. And normally what I'd have to do is go into a theme, or I'd have to go into the architecture of a website. I'd have to pull it apart. I'd have to get into code or hire a developer. And anyone who's ever hired a WordPress developer knows that that's not a fun thing to have to do. So what I did here is I took a screenshot of the drop-down menu, which already had this call button in it. And I simply said, in mobile, always have the call button. Can you see that up there? Right there. In mobile, always have the call button at the top, above the nav, full width, no padding outside. Meaning, put it at the top, peg it there, don't have it move, and don't have anything around it. And I'll add that. Perfect. I've added a full width call button. So in approximately 3 minutes of time, I was able to do something that might have taken a half a day or had to have a developer or someone else to help me accomplish this seemingly simple thing. And that's what it does, is it kind of eliminates the things that they seem simple in your mind because you know what you're trying to say, but then when you have to get that on paper and you have to have tickets and developers and all that stuff. And I see you nodding your head. Did you have do you have a WordPress site?
No, but going through all this experience for building websites and
Got it.
mobile apps with the developers, and it
Right.
can be glorious and it can be painful.
Right, and it's usually there's a time zone problem, which is usually like 12 hours of difference, or there's it's never like they're in New York City like hanging out. They're always somewhere very far away, and there's a language and time situation.
What application do you use to do this?
This is an application called Replit. Okay, Replit. There's another one called Lovable, which is equally good, and it's using Claude as the backbone for generating the actual code. So when you're building in this new way, and this is a financial management company, small firm in Southport, Connecticut that I've been working with for a very long time. And what they do to the authenticity and the blogging and all that stuff is every week they post something called the Monday Morning Market Memo. They don't use AI for it at all. They write it themselves. But it used to be that he would send me an email with this thing. I would then take the email. I'd have to log into WordPress. Then I would get greeted with whatever happens in WordPress with updates and problems. And so just something so simple like adding a blog could end up taking a very long time. All I do here is I copy his email. I paste it into this place. Right here on the side, you can see what I asked it to do. Just basically just right here, just paste this in. add new blog. This is the title. I pasted it in. I also gave it a screenshot so it could see just the nuances of like some of the italics and bold and stuff like that, because it would know based on a screenshot what you're adding to it. And would you believe, just like that, that blog is then added, and then it also is added to their blog section as the top spot, bumps all the old ones down. So very much appears like a WordPress site or a typical content management site system, but is all built on AI. And once you have it in this environment, you're just talking to it. So you train it. And so what I told this to do is I gave it a whole bunch of stock photos to use as featured images. These images right here. And they're generally kind of the same, but you need that image if you're going to share a blog post out in social media, because otherwise it would just be a title on a screen. So this gives it something to have, visually with it. If you're putting it on LinkedIn where he likes it, or Facebook, it has that visual. So I gave it a bunch of different photos and said, choose a photo every 5th time. Don't use that photo for 5 more times, and then just add it randomly. And would you believe it does that? And don't choose anything seasonal unless it is that time of year. And I asked specifically for that.
My question for
Sure.
you, some of the stuff you're talking about used to be like onerous, used to be, oh my God, I got to actually have to have this programmed or what have you. I mean, back in the Mesozoic era of websites. But, as time marched on, I don't care, if it's video, if it's telecommunications or websites, as the technology progressed, I know AI is new, but it's new really fast, taking over. From a business perspective, from a return on investment perspective, it used to be a really, really, really expensive for people to build websites. Then it became manageable because you could do it yourself on WordPress. Now you're able to, but it was still kind of a few canker sores along the way if you didn't know what you were doing. And now you're on AI. Okay, are you finding that you just indirectly just stated you can do things a lot quicker? It's a lot more intuitive. You can do things a lot quicker. Is it also providing? Is it more financially feasible to build a website today with AI, or is it still relatively new that people are kind of feeling?
Well, the way I'm doing it, it absolutely is, because what it does is it allows you to take away all the complexities of what you'd need to do to build it the traditional way. It allows me to eliminate all the fluff and things that I would have to do behind the scenes to get a site built. So I interface with software. There is nobody else. There's no one else there. So speeds are insanely faster. The quality is much higher. There's no dependencies on. With WordPress, what you had to do was you create the website, use WordPress, and the reason why WordPress was cool for so long is because you could ultimately crowbar some functionality into it that didn't really exist. You could make it happen through plugins and through manipulation of those plugins. But with this, you're circumventing that whole problem, and you're just.
So it may be a more cost-effective.
It's way more cost effective.
For the customer.
Oh, absolutely. For everyone, and for me to develop it, and then obviously for the customer
We
too.
used to build websites back in the day. The first question was, sounds stupid today, but so how many pages do you think this website is going to be? How many pictures do you think you're going to have?
Yeah.
It really comes down to today's. Who cares?
That's irrelevant. It's all fed from a database-driven environment where pages and posts are just added as I type it. They're just sections and things just get added, just like that.
You still need like a hosting, you need a domain, you need like a hosting service, like you need like this Replit.
This right here.
How does that all work?
Actually, this is all self-hosted. So through Replit, it directly interfaces with your DNS settings in GoDaddy. This may be getting a little technical, but that's a bit of a technical question. But they actually build it and host
Because
it.
I can use this, but it seems like there's still a lot of other steps before you can build a website. Because the first thing you probably still need a domain, you need a hosting service, and then you need to have this thing to tell
You don't need a hosting service. It's hosted
but
right
it's
here. So
hosted
right here on this screen. So you buy your domain at GoDaddy. When you're ready, you do some entries in your DNS settings. If you're familiar with that part of GoDaddy, it's an
I
A
have a
record.
domain, yeah.
Yep. So you would point your A record and your text record to this place for your www version and your non-www version, and this is hosted right here. So it's all in one. That's it. There's nothing else. That's it.
Hosting fees then?
No. Well, I am charging a hosting fee to the clients that I'm hosting, because I'm going to also manage their websites for them. They're still not going to be bothered with managing, because most of the companies that I work
So it's
with.
more of a management
But-
than a hosting thing.
Yeah, for me.
Yeah.
But for you, if you signed up on Replit and did your own thing and built your own website, which is still going to be a little bit of a challenge if you're not a technical person, although it's possible. If you feed it the right information and tell it the right thing the right way, you can get what you want. But it hosts it for you and it does the whole thing. And if you don't want it to be here, you own the code that's in here. This isn't just proprietary in that it's stuck in Replit. You can take your whole exact file structure and put it on a host that's, that's sufficient for this build, which is a React application.
To an earlier question that Barry had asked about whether you talk to it or whether you type it in, can you use something like Dragonly Speaking and turn it into your own personal Alexa where you're just asking it to do something or a question and it does it for you?
You're saying to talk to this thing and just have it do your stuff for you, just verbally speak it?
Right.
I haven't done that. I'm sure there's a way, but I don't know that. I don't know that you're going to want to do it like that because you're still going to want to micromanage each move that it makes because it is AI and AI hallucinates. AI does weird stuff. So,
So do I.
there you go. You're like one with AI. So you'll still want to kind of watch it. Like if I let it just go rogue and feed it like 90 instructions, chances are it's going to go off the rails and it's going to do the wrong thing. But if you just enter one thing at a time, explicitly say what you want, and I'll even get down to like the blog here and to someone's point, I think your point about formatting and making things look a little nicer, this is a good example. Normally I wouldn't take this much time for a blog, but and these are all custom photos. This is a nice way to format and break up text. It's just there's 6 things to do with if you're at an apartment that's near one of the apartments that this company rents in a nice formatted, good looking blog style. And I just told AI to just vary it up a little bit, give it a little bit of an artistic treatment, and I let it rip, and it came up with this. And it's just like, wow. So sometimes it gets it wrong, but sometimes it does things that's so creative and so cool that you're like, I would have never done that. I would have never programmed that to do that. So that's great. And also in the case of this financial management company, I'm telling it to make these little things fade in. I'm telling this menu to stick. And there was this other little thing that it's not that cool, but it was kind of cool for me because, again, this is like a full day project or just something I never would have done. So there's this navigation at the top. You scroll down, the navigation goes smaller, which is okay. And then it's talking about different scenarios for this financial advisor, different types of people for different reasons why they would call him. But it pops down another menu that allows you to jump to those spots. And I just thought that was a pretty cool thing that I could just verbally say to do, and it just did it. And it just looks cool. It's just something that wouldn't happen in WordPress. And if it did, you're not going to spend $1,500 and have a developer to make the third menu appear. But for me, that was like a 15-minute exercise in something creative that I may or may not have been able to do. And I was able to pull it off. And one more example, I'm a lunatic and I run marathons. So I'm trying to trim my marathon time down from what I just did in Hartford. And so I'm going to run a marathon and I'm going to try to qualify for the Boston Marathon, which is like the elite, you're the cool guy runner if you can run the Boston Marathon and get in by qualifying. What I did is I took the colors of the marathon, I generated these photos in AI. I told it to make it look like a blueprint, in which it did. It took the background and just gave it a little blueprint thing. And I said, let's make a new post type and let's build out this whole thing as a countdown. And I'm going to log my journey on how to run a better marathon and teach people how to actually run a marathon in the process through this, which is a 10-step process of how to run a marathon that I used AI to help me construct based on my own reality of what I've gone through. I would never, ever, ever take the time to do this, but this was like a 3-day project instead of it being like just taking over my life. So I was able to just smash this thing into an existing website that I already have, and AI just did it all for me with my guidance, of course. But that's just another example of things that you wouldn't normally do that you can do with AI. So yeah, that's it. That's all of it in a nutshell. It's a lot, I'm sure, because I'm sure a lot of people are using, like you said, the WordPress, Wix, Squarespace legacy software. But within the next year, you're going to see a big shift in the availability of people who can work on WordPress. It's just the quality of the work is going to start to diminish because more and more people are going to come to this AI realization that why would I sit here and do all this stuff if I can just talk to it and have it do these things exponentially faster and nicer. And again, to your point about SEO and speed, these pages load like lightning fast. I mean, this is a very heavy page with a video playing, and I'm on like this hotel's like guest Wi-Fi, and see how fast it's loading. There's zero hesitation. telling it to do things like infinite loading of these posts. Like, so you scroll down, these posts just keep loading as you keep scrolling, and there is no hesitation whatsoever.
So without AI, it would have been slower? Is that?
Without AI on
Is that-
WordPress, it would be a lot slower. Actually, I wonder if I can just pull up. I have their.
And what makes
I
it
didn't save
fast?
the URL, but the reason why it's fast is because everything's already cached and it's not calling. When it presents the information to the web browser, it's already in HTML, meaning it's not pulling from a database, it's not calling plugins, it's not calling anything. It's all just ready to be displayed. With WordPress, it's a constant call to a database. The plugins all have their dependencies, so there's a lot that has to go on for that to output the information on the screen.
How easy is it to move like an old website into like the new century? It's like my website is pretty old, and then I know sometimes like there's a limitation on the size of the file and the
What
time frame.
platform are you using?
I don't really know. I own a Mathnasium. It's like a part of a franchise.
Yep.
I have 2 Mathnasium centers, so my website is just like I have a link to update it myself in the back.
Is it a subsite of a corporate
I think
site?
so, yeah.
Then
I have my own like location
unless
page.
certain businesses like that will have rules. Like, can you detach your own and make your own standalone website? Would be the question I would ask you.
Yeah.
Most often, if you're
Probably not.
most
But I'm
often
just
that's the
wondering,
answer.
like, how easy it is for them to like make it into a new.
If they're going
It
to
looks
change
pretty-
their entire corporate global website that they give people like little websites to, that's probably a pretty significant project.
Yeah.
But I would be willing to bet that if they haven't yet, someone will present that as an opportunity for them to do that.
Right.
Because
No,
it's
it looks pretty nice. I think it's just my sub page. I just find that one because I create my own posts, my blogs, and I'm limited to the quality of my photos and videos.
that's probably just due to the limitations of their CMS that they're providing to you.
Okay.
But in order to do something separate, you'd have to get probably permission from the franchise to build your own thing out, which often is denied.
Yeah.
So, does anyone have any questions? Yes.
2 points. As all these tools become more, commonplace, more ubiquitous, does it threaten your career?
Personally, I don't believe it does because I feel like it would have if I didn't learn what I learned over the course of the last 3 years. If I didn't see what was kind of coming, but that's what I do. So I've always watched what was coming and got. It's like when WordPress was invented, I started using WordPress. As this was invented, I started using this. So I'm always kind of scanning and watching for the next thing, so this way I don't get snipped out of the loop.
And on your website, did I read this correctly? You're running a 3-hour marathon?
I'm trying to.
Something.
I just did a 3:25 in Hartford, and I felt like I could have did better. So I'm gonna try it again.
So you can qualify for Boston. My daughter did it, but she had to fundraise to get in.
Yes. I'm trying to get in like the hard, like I don't want to pay, I want to just get in. So at 50 years old, you have to run a 3:20, but then they give you a deficit of like 5 minutes because there's so many people that are good runners now. So I have to run a 3:15. So I'm going for a 3:10. We'll see what happens. I don't know. It's terrible. But yeah, that's like my side project. But so does anyone have any other questions about it?
Do you work with the Orange Chamber of Commerce, their website?
Do I work with it? Not as of yet, no.
What's,
I feel like he's going to take this information and he's going to just go build one out.
Chris, I have a question. It's very simple. When I moved here, and then all of a sudden, lately, I don't know, maybe in the last 5 years or so, Chamber of Commerce has their website. And when you go Orange and so forth, I just was trying to find the trails, walking trails in here. But when you say walking trails, it doesn't come up. And then you had to go through a whole bunch of stuff, and then you have to land in conservation. It's under the conservation. It's not under parks.
Interesting. Okay.
So
You just gave me a good idea for a new website. All the local trails assembled into and that's exactly what you would ask it to do. You would ask ChatGPT to go scan for all the local trails. You would take that comprehensive list. You would feed that directly into Replit, and you would then get the coordinates for all those different places. This is just me what I would do to turn that into a website, and I would feed that into Replit, and Replit would build it out. I would then take the time to style it properly, maybe look at a little brown and green and stuff like that. But that's ultimately the way I would go about building something out like that. It can be done quite quickly, actually. Anything that you can think of, that's the thing. So WordPress is software, okay? Squarespace is software. This is just a software development tool. So all this is doing is just like in ChatGPT, you can get it to write stuff for you, headlines, copy, or you can go to Sora and you can create images of anything that you can do. Well, this knows the codecs of all the existing software. So no software is actually safe. So anyone who works exclusively in software is actually going to be threatened a little bit by this, because it can just make software for you specifically for your needs. And it's your own proprietary thing that no one else will have. But just because that's all this, at the end of the day, that's all this is. It's just software creation, and you put a nice paint job on top of it and make it look like yours. Your branding, colors, photography, all that good stuff. But essentially, it's just software creation. So if you have an idea for software, something that doesn't exist, then that's exactly what you would enter into this, and it would help you create it, an app or a web app or a website. Did you find Racebrook Tract?
Yes.
Perfect. I go there all the time.
Orange has really nice trails, a lot of it.
I go there all the time. It's a great place to hike. Any other questions?
So, mind blown.
Okay.
So, no plugins,
No
no
plugins.
gravity forms.
No, I would still recommend Jotform as the form. It can build forms, and you can connect it to some magical service that does all that stuff. But Jotform is still the best way to go.
What is that called?
Jotform.
Job form?
Jot, J-O-T, Jotform. If I go back to the law firm site, that's the form that's right here that's driving all the leads for this website. The reason why, because it's just a form service. The only thing this form service does is forms. So that's why I still default to using them even over AI.
And the sites built through this are Google friendly.
Oh yeah,
friendly.
and you can tell them to be more Google friendly and more search friendly and chat friendly. And to his point too about the zero click or the no click searches, you want to become more and more. You want to be the answer. That's like my thing, is be the answer. So you have one shot if you want to get into that, to be at the top. So through content, through blogging, all that stuff, you can. The point of this, specifically with this law firm, is to be able to scale content at an exponential rate instead of just being subject to being able to just add a blog here, add this or add that. It's, for a Danbury, Connecticut car accident lawyer, if anyone's a law firm or a lawyer, you know how hard it is to compete in that arena. So what I'm asking it to do is, we're going to take every one of these little things under car accidents, we're going to turn that into its own portal, and AI is going to help scale that content accordingly. So yeah, so it's really bizarre. This is all new in the last 7 months or so, and I've transferred 16 sites that were WordPress. I've closed 16 WordPress sites out since the end of May of this year, and have transitioned and then continuing to transition more of my clients over to this as we speak, right here.
And, we're building out a site for a client now, and yesterday I think we spent $750 on plugins.
Yeah.
And that's an annual expense.
Yeah. What plugins, if you don't mind me asking?
Gravity forms.
Yep.
There were 5 of them altogether.
Yeah.
My team did it.
Yeah. This would just create the functionality of that plugin, and it eliminates that, and there's no dependencies, there's no ongoing subscriptions to it. The plugin is software that extends the capabilities of WordPress. I'm assuming you're talking about WordPress?
Yes.
That's all a plugin does. It extends the functionality of existing software that talks to other software. That slows down your website because it's an external communication. It's another entry in your database, and it can ultimately, anything that software that's out there you can see it on a screen. This is what it does. You enter into this, and you can replicate that functionality. Except for the forms, I'd still opt to use Jotform over all forms. And any WordPress plugin subject to those licenses and hacks, the security updates, all that stuff that you probably are very familiar with. This also eliminates all that stuff, because the output, it's not hackable because the output is just HTML. It's not all the core and all the stuff that you can see in a WordPress site. Mm-hmm. There is no you can't go under it. It's just what's presented that's it. Right. Unless they hack your username and password at Replit's top level, there's no other way. So it's interesting.
Okay, thank you.
She said, I have a nonprofit and we don't have a website yet. What do you recommend is something that's like cost effective, or maybe they even have a free plan that I can use to build a website?
Well, I would recommend trying to tinker around with Lovable or Replit. Lovable might be a good option for you because you can get a bit. This gets expensive. Don't get me wrong. This is, whenever I'm making moves in here and I'm doing stuff and I'm building architecture, it's working. it's gonna charge, but it's nothing like a developer. But I would try Lovable or Replit and see what you come up with. Feed it your logo, feed it some photography. general information and just let it rip and see what happens. And you'd be very surprised at the initial result. And then you can just kind of tailor it over time.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Sure.
Just a quick question. You had said whatever, a high number, over a dozen that you've transitioned over
Yeah.
from their. Just making a simple assumption. Let's
Sure.
say most of them were WordPress. Okay.
They all were WordPress.
Okay, they were all WordPress.
They were all my WordPress builds, actually,
Was it
specifically.
really, did you do it just, I'm asking, hey, listen, you talk to it saying, hey, take this and put it, in other words, did you restyle it, or was it just a matter of, did you just really want to transition everything over? So it was an easy transition because it was a WordPress and you just said,
It was an easy transition in that I established the look and feel of most of them because I'm an art director by trade too. So I was able to feed the information in properly. The transition for someone who doesn't speak art director, who's not a web designer, may be a little more difficult. But yeah, like I'll give an example of.
What I'm saying is a lot of this might have been done because there might be the website was fine, but if you wanted to get them on the same platform as everyone else, it was just a matter of I'm making this up. Give it the same relative look and feel.
It's the same relative look and feel, except it just looks more
right.
clear and futuristic and nice. So the proposal was a design enhancement based on what exists.
Yeah.
And it will look better. It will be much, much faster,
Yeah.
but it will ultimately function the same. But we're going to add in some cool new things that you've never seen on your
What it
website
is,
before.
So the point I was making is, you said to the client, we're going to do an evolutionary change. We're not going to recreate everything. We're going to give we're going to give you a refreshed.
Yep,
look and
100%.
feel,
Yeah,
respecting your corporate identity. Yeah.
and just
because
shaking all of the WordPress nonsense in the process.
The thing of it is sometimes with the AI, you get concerned, or there's people I know get concerned. It's like, well, if I tell them to do, not just on websites, but just generally speaking, tell them to do this, it's like, okay, everybody's going to look the same.
Yeah.
It's like everybody's going to like.
Yep.
Like it's going to because it kind of knows that you like this style, so everything that it's going to dictate is going to have the same style, and that's not the case if you instruct it right.
Yeah, if you instruct it right and you come into it with a you could even feed it your brand guidelines if you have that already prepared.
Right.
Your specific typography, your specific logo, your specific colors. But this was the very first one that I did. Local insurance company, Milford Barth Insurance, Christine Tiriano. I had done a few on my own with like my own internal stuff before I figured out that I could start to transition this over to my clients. Like even something so simple, like if you look in the background of this, you'll see a little gradient just moving. Maybe you can't see it on the screen, maybe you can, but there's a little subtle movement back here. Again, these little things I would have never programmed. And when it comes to like little things like the insurance services, like here, the FAQ that you talked about, this was able to take it and put it into, it just knew to split it up. It was just a page of FAQs. This actually took it and categorized it for me. I didn't ask it to do it.
So awesome.
It just did it. And I was like, wow, what a cool thing that I never would have done or taken the time to even think about. I was just trying to replicate the FAQ section, and it just output this for me based on that. So yeah.
As a photographer, one of the things I and other photographers have struggled with is people going in and trying to just right click or copy some of our images for whatever reason that they want to use it, even if sometimes wasn't even a picture of them. Is there a way to, through the code of AI, prevent that?
No. Anything that you can see on a screen can be stolen.
Without, I
literally,
understand
yeah.
screen
Yeah.
capture, but you, as far as right clicks and.
You can stop a right click, but anyone that knows how to get in can get it. Like I can anything that I can see on a screen, or video, an audio, a
As an
photograph.
individual image?
Yeah. Yep.